Okay, so this is number 11 of your homework. And I wanted to show you this type of problem because this function is in vertex form. So when it's in vertex form, we use a different method to solve, right? The complete the square method. So I'm going to write vertex form. So for the questions on your homework that are in vertex form, I want you to use this video and this example to get through it. So here I've got g of 0 equals blank. So that means what I'm doing is when I see an x, I'm replacing it with 0. So I'll rewrite that here to show you. And I'll highlight the 0 so that we see where that came from and why. So 0 minus 5 is negative 5 squared plus 2. Negative 5 squared, because the negative 5 is in parentheses, is positive 25. The reason for that is that a negative times a negative is a positive. So I've got 25 plus 2, which gives me the number 27. Okay, so that will be my answer for part A. Now, for part B, it's asking me to plug 5 into x in my function. So I'm going to rewrite this. G of 5 equals 5 minus 5 squared plus 2. So again, I'll highlight the 5. So we see I plugged 5 in wherever I saw an x. Okay. 5 minus 5 is 0. 0 squared is 0. So I've got 0 plus 2, which is equal to 2. So the answer to part B is 2. Now, just like number 10 in part C, for number 11 in part C, I'm setting my function equal to 0. When you set your function equal to 0, it means you're replacing where it says g of x, so there, with the number 0. And when you see a function set equal to 0, that means you should solve it. So when I have a function in vertex form, if we remember our flowchart, you can look back in your notes right now for it. When a function is in vertex form, I use complete the square method in order to solve. So first step is going to be to move k, right? So minus 2, minus 2. Negative 2 here equals x minus 5 squared. Now, I don't have an a, a is 1, so I don't need to divide it off. But what I will need to do is square root both sides. So I'm actually going to just do that in green. And this is going to be the square root step. Okay? And square rooting both sides cancels out my square. So the opposite of square is to square root. So now this side is unlocked. And right here I've got plus or minus the square root of negative 2 equals x minus 5. Now, when you have something inside your square root which would produce a decimal, I want you to just leave it in its root. You don't have to write the decimal form, so we're going to leave it just like that. And here this step is to move h. I'll highlight that in orange. So right, because in vertex form, this is my h and this is my k. Just to remind you. So plus 5 to this side and tack on a 5 at the end here. So now I have x all by itself. And right over here, I'm going to branch out the problem. So I'll write branch out on top. I'm just going to make sure you can still see that. Yep. So x equals 5 plus or minus square root of negative 2. And on this side, I'll do it the positive way, and on this side, I'll do it the negative way. So here I've got x equals 5 plus the root of negative 2. And here I've got x equals 5 minus the root of negative 2. So I will just and to kind of show you, so this is the positive side. You write the answer with a plus in the middle, and here it's the negative side, so you write the answer with the minus in the middle. Now, it's going to be left in this form because the root of negative 2 is a decimal imaginary number, which we will not get into until later. So we're just going to leave it like this and write the answer here. And those are your two solutions. So now we're going to do it for g of x equals negative, or positive 16. So, you can see that. I've got 16 replacing the word or the term g of x equals x minus 5 squared plus 2. So my first step, just like up here, is to move k over. So I'm not going to rewrite the steps, but I will highlight them the same color. So I'm moving k. Even though it doesn't equal 0, I'm still doing the same steps over here. Get rid of that. 16 minus 2 equals 14. X minus 5 squared. Now there's no a, so I don't need to divide anything off, but it is time for square root. So square root of 14, if you were to put that in the calculator, would give you some kind of decimal, so we won't even worry about it. We'll just cross off the squared and write plus or minus the root of 14 equals x minus 5. So this is the step where we move h. I'll highlight that in orange, just like in the problem above. Okay. And now I'm ready to branch out, and I'll do the branching out over here. X equals 5 plus or minus the root of 14. So one side positive, one side negative. Here I write x equals 5 plus root 14. Here I write x equals 5 minus root 14. And that's it. That's all you have to do for the answers, and I'll highlight them yellow for us. And those are your solutions to part D. So I want you to use these two videos. Whenever you have a problem on the homework that says standard form, use the first video. And when your question is in vertex form like this, use this video.